absolutely should know about, and that is the state of homeless kids in Lucas County, especially around this holiday season. We have with us one of the experts in the field of providing services to those folks who are unhoused. We have Renee Palacios with us, who is the executive director of Family House. Family House is, you should know, the largest family shelter in the state of Ohio. Right?
Absolutely, yes. We have 103 beds. Actually, we just added a couple more, so we claim about 107 when you count the cribs and things like that. But you know, we are a large facility, and we're full, Donnie. We're full.
All the time.
All the time, especially in the last couple months as, you know, the weather gets colder, people start coming in. A lot of the families that we serve are coming out of their cars. And so with this time of year, it gets cold.
You know, I don't think people actually believe that in Lucas County.
They don't
I don't think they believe it. I don't think they believe that people are in Lucas County with children living in their cars.
Yeah, you know, and I've been asked, are there really such thing as homeless children?
Isn't that like just on TV?
I've never seen a homeless child. Where are they? You know, I see when I drive downtown, I might see homeless men, but I don't see homeless children.
Right.
And that's because there's Family House.
That's right.
You know, we take 36 families at one time. So that's why you don't see them out on the street, because there's a place for them. There's this beautiful resource called Family House.
Yeah. So, you know, actually, if kids were not with their families, there certainly, CSB would certainly make arrangements for them. But
absolutely,
what is the benefit of keeping those families together?
You know, most shelters segregate by gender. You know, you hear a lot of men's shelters or women and children's shelters. So traditionally, most of the time that there's a segregation. But, you know, families want to stay together. You know, I can't imagine being separated from my husband of 12 years and 2 kids.
And those gorgeous kids, yeah.
You know, I mean, can you imagine being separated like that? And you know, homelessness is so traumatic for kids anyways. And so to take dad out of the picture and have dad send dad over to a men's mission,
right.
You know, that's just, it just makes the situation even harder.
It certainly has to make recovering from the situation harder, or moving out of the situation is probably a better way to describe it. It has to make that a lot harder.
Absolutely. We see, you know, a lot of the little children who might be potty trained. We see a lot of regression in potty training. You know, the average age of a homeless child, Donnie, is 4 years old.
Wow.
And I always stop and think about that because I have a 5-year-old. And they're these small little people that are trying to navigate the world, and they learn bonding, and they learn trust, and they learn, you know, independence and ownership of themselves and where they live. And so a lot of the kids that we're serving, if they are living in an abandoned house, or they are living in their car, or they're couch surfing, as we call it,
right.
Maybe living at, you know, aunt's house and then grandma's house.
And then your cousins and your friends,
and
right.
a lot of the times that's what's happening. And then after a while, you know, they say you got to move on. So they move on to somewhere else. And so, yeah, they are coming out of their cars. And so when you've disrupted this child's development so much with all the moves, it is hard on them. And so to take dad out of the picture on top of it, it's really
just makes it worse. Can't imagine. And you know, we always talk about children being so flexible. You know, children, they'll get through it. Well, the reality is that they don't always get through it well.
Right.
They are absorbing everything that's going on around them. That's one of the wonderful things about being a kid. You get to just take it all in, and these kids are taking it all in.
They sure are. And it is traumatic, you know, for them. Can you imagine being a little person, a 4-year-old, and being put into, you know, Family House is a giant facility, you know, 4-story brick building with 103 people living in it. So I'm a 4-year-old, and I'm thrust into this situation with all these strangers, people I don't know, in a place I don't know. Mom and dad, a lot of the times, are feeling pretty hopeless, pretty sad, a lot of tears, a lot of frustration, a lot of hopelessness, embarrassment. Right, so I'm a 4-year-old trying to absorb all of this while trying
and where's my bedroom, and where are my friends, and why did this happen?
Exactly, why me, and what's going to happen now? You know, children, statistically, homeless children are 3 times as likely to repeat a grade and to be diagnosed with developmental disabilities or behavior disorders, and that's completely environmental. And you can understand that. You know, when you're being shifted around, you know, if you move schools, for example, that's a whole new set of friends.
That's right.
That's a new teacher, a new community. You know, you got to start all over again. And so kids are resilient, but they still are affected by what's happened to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Is this a particularly hard time, Christmas time?
It is. You know, we get a lot of calls this time of year of people who want to help, which is great. You know, every year, Donnie, there's always one child that will say to me, "Will Santa know where I am?"
Oh, wow.
will Santa know where to find me?
Okay, now you're going to make me cry. Okay. That's, how heartbreaking is that?
And, you know, I lived in my car, and then I lived over here, and then I was at Grandma's house, and I was at Susie's last year. And so, did you tell Santa that I'm here? Because I hope he comes this year. And as a mom, again, of a 5-year-old, I look at this small soul who it is truly their concern about Christmas, and will Santa find? So we guarantee Santa will find them,
and Santa does.
And Santa does.
Santa
every
always
year.
does. Yeah. And as a human being, you want something better for these children.
Yes.
You want a different experience for these children, not just at Christmas time though, but all the time. And there are many of us out here in this community who have been so blessed or so fortunate, however you choose to frame it, and we have the opportunity to make sure that these kids and their families have a different experience all the time.
That's right. That's right. We do. We really are busy between Thanksgiving and Christmas with calls.
Yeah.
You know, but I always try to encourage people. You know, call us in January. Call us in February. Call us in March, because, you know, there are still kids that are going to be at Family House in February and March and April. There's still kids that want love and want acceptance and want to hear. When our community comes in, Donnie, and shows love to our children, our kids light up.
I bet.
Because sometimes mom and dad are so frustrated that they may not parent the way and nurture the way that they would ordinarily do. And so for our community to come in with extra love and extra time and extra smiles really impacts these kids.
Well, I bet it's really difficult though for parents to focus on the kids the way they normally would.
That's right.
Their lives have been disrupted as well, and they have the responsibility of putting their lives back together for putting the lives of the entire family back together.
And you know, there's so many stigmas about homelessness and what it looks like and who is homeless. And part of my passion it involves advocacy and education about the homeless. You know, our society uses words like bum, you know, hobo. You know, they all have mental health issues.
Right.
They're all probably drunk.
That's right. And irresponsible.
Always. And lazy.
Lazy. That's right. Lazy and irresponsible.
They just need to pick themselves up by their own bootstraps, and they just need to get a job.
Because after all, they did it, didn't they?
Yeah,
Somebody else did it.
Someone else did it, so you can do it too.
That's exactly right.
You know, and the folks, the families we serve, a lot of them are job losses. I mean, our economy has not rebounded.
That's absolutely true. Not in the way that the press would have you believe it's rebounded.
Right.
You know, there are part-time jobs out there. There are jobs out there for $7, $8, $9, $10 an hour. But I have to tell you, that's not enough to, and you know, why am I telling you? It's not enough to support an average family.
That's right. That's right. And I don't mind sharing a personal story. My husband worked at Bax Global. A lot of people have probably heard of Bax Global. Burlington Air Express used to be over at the airport, and they shut down, and 700 people lost their jobs. My husband was one.
I remember.
And he was their flight controller. And so my husband, you know, was the flight controller at Bax Global. He had our health insurance, our 401k. So Renee can go out and save the world. That's how the Palacios family worked. And when he lost his job, and yes, I'm the executive director of Family House, but you know, I don't make that much money. I mean, don't let anybody fool you.
I know.
So, and when he lost his job, it really disrupted our family. And we were worried, can we pay our mortgage?
Right.
And as much as I've gone out and talked about dignity and respect and the embarrassment that homeless people have, I felt that embarrassment, Donna.
Sure.
When I called my son's school and whispered, can we get free lunches? I was like, oh my goodness. This is the embarrassment and the shame that our families have, and I'm feeling it. So, you know, I can't say that I can completely relate to the families that we serve, but if you've lost a job or know somebody who's lost a job, you can relate to that pain and uncertainty of where am I gonna be able to pay the bills? Am I gonna be able, because you know, I got to be honest with you. I was thinking, how are we going to pull this off?
And you know, the reality is, if people are looking at their personal circumstances, honestly, they do mirror what the national information is, and that is that most people in this country cannot afford to lose one paycheck without going into significant distress.
That's right. That's right.
So if you are in the position of losing more than one, or having a husband or a spouse or a supporter of the family who was unemployed for a year, you know, that's amazing.
Yes.
You know what I always think about? I always think that when I struggle or when my own biases start to kick in, because we all have them.
Yes, we do.
And I am working really hard this year to face my own and challenge myself around those biases. But when our own biases kick in, I always think that's somebody's child.
Yes.
That's somebody's child.
Yes.
Even if he's 50 years old, that's somebody's child.
Yes.
And a mother out there
Yes.
wanted so much more
That's right.
for her child. And if my child, whom I adore, was in a difficult situation, geez, I hope somebody
That's right.
would lend a hand.
That's right. And with the economy the way it is, as people are losing jobs, no, they're hard. We haven't seen the families taking in other families like we have in the past, right?
Right.
Because, money is tight. And so whereas I might be a parent who might be able to take in their child who lost a job 10 years ago, it's a different economic climate. I may not be able to afford to bring in my child. Therefore, homelessness rates go up.
Have you seen an increase this year?
Oh, yes. We have served about 100 more people every year since 2008.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Now, but your statistics say, and I had all these great statistics for you. We haven't had a chance to put them up, but we'll talk about them in the next segment. But one of the amazing things is that 75% of the people who come into your organization have positive outcomes when they leave.
Absolutely. Within 42 days.
Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
So what does that say? A handout
Yes.
does amazing things.
And you know what that also means, Donnie? They're not hobos.
They're not lazy.
They're not lazy.
Or irresponsible.
Or irresponsible. They do want to work.
That's right.
They want autonomy.
That's
Nobody
right.
wakes up in the morning and says, you know what? I think I'm going to move into the homeless shelter today.
Or I want to live in my car today.
I'm going to live in my car.
That's right.
I want to live off the government.
That's exactly right.
People don't
And
say
the
that.
other thing that we know by that statistic is that people are firmly grasping those bootstraps and pulling very, very hard to make their lives work. We need to go away for just a second. We will be right back. We'll be joined with Sam Hancock, whose school has adopted a family at Family House. We'll see you in just a moment.